Viewpoint of WBVP and WNBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WNBA.
It's now time for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. You can also watch live on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Here is your host, Bryan Pasquale.
Who can it be now? All right. Who can it be now? Who is going to be the Steelers' starting quarterback this Sunday night versus the New York Jets? Sorry about that terrible singing. For YouTube and Facebook copyrights, we can't play the actual song with actual singing, so you got my version of it. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Russell Fields, Justin Wilson. Does it even matter? Does it really even matter, Ryan?
I think so. I think it matters greatly. I think that on one hand, you know, they're talking about possibly putting a guy in who hasn't touched the field in a couple months. He's had a
no pun intended.
I mean, really, he's had this injury of his calf, and now you're going to mess around with the idea of taking the guy that got you to 4-2, a guy that seems like he's pretty much built for this offense because the offensive line is porous. And
wait, they have an offensive line?
Exactly.
Since when?
And he has legs, and he could get out of there. The other guy, again, he hasn't had playing time at all. I think that staying with Justin Fields might be the right move on this one. I don't know if you go in there and mess with the confidence of the younger quarterback.
Oh, I wrote it down here somewhere, Ryan. I have some pros and cons of Russell Wilson being the starting quarterback.
I can't wait to hear. I'm having a hard time coming up with any pros, to be honest with you.
Well, the pros are things like, you know, he's better. That's a pro, right?
Hey, he used to be. I know that. I know that he used to be a quarterback that made it to the Super Bowl, but it was the past 5 years. I
won a Super Bowl. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame. He could throw the ball to open wide receivers. Okay, so that's number one. And I'm not saying I'm leaning this way.
Well, the other guy only had one interception, and it was on a ball that was batted around 5 times. So, I mean,
he throws it 3 times a game, Ryan. He throws it 3 times a game.
But again, is the other guy...
He had one completion,
is the other guy
one interception, one incomplete.
Is the other guy going to be mobile enough to get away from the...
All right, let's go through these. Let's go through... We have 2 hours to figure out the mobility of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, he's a Super Bowl champion.
He was, yes.
Yes. Hall of Famer. He's very accurate. Very accurate. Now, not so much over the middle, but to the outside and to deep, he's a very accurate quarterback. He can read the defenses. He's proven this over the years that he can read defenses and knows what's coming. He'll spread the ball around. He won't just throw it to, who does Fields throw to? Pickens. Harris out of the backfield. Did I mention Pickens? And then he likes to run it. Okay, so he's going to spread the ball around.
Because we have a lot of targets. So, I mean, okay.
There's lots of guys out there. Pat Freiermuth out there.
And he does hit him a lot. You're right. Absolutely.
Okay. And last year, Russell Wilson was fantastic in the red zone. Okay. How many Chris Boswell field goals do we have to endure this season? Well, we could be putting up 7 as opposed to 3. Those are my pros. I'm not saying that's what I agree with. I'm saying those are my pros that I wrote down.
Let me start by saying that the Russell Wilson that I seen last year in Denver was a shell of his former self. I said that I seen a lot of times last year Russell Wilson was going
better stats than freaking what's the dude from Kansas City? Patrick Mahomes.
No,
you're better stats than Patrick Mahomes.
But yeah, I mean, he did really great. He ended out. I don't even think they made the playoffs where Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl. But anyway, that's beside the point. Did
Russell Wilson have the refs on his side and Taylor Swift?
He went through a lot of checkdowns. One thing that I did notice it was going to this simple offense, something that the Steelers are very used to from the past 3 years. So maybe he might fit right in. There was a couple times I did see him throw the ball down the middle of the field and down the sideline. Again, it was nothing like you've seen earlier in his career. I'm not a gambling man, but I would be willing to make a simple wager with you to say if he does play that he won't do that much better than Justin Fields had been doing, if better at all.
All right. I didn't say that. I didn't say I'm for Russell Wilson. I said I made a list that had the pros.
No, you're right. I just think I think the pros.
Ryan, I just had a list.
I just think the pros
I'm not his
stink.
older brother or his first cousin.
I just think the pros stink. That's all. Go ahead.
The pros stink. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. How is that a stink?
Okay, continue.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer. That's like having Ben Roethlisberger out there, and you're like, I don't know. Kenny Pickett, maybe. All right. Ben's done. Russell Wilson's done.
We'll compare the numbers. If Russell Wilson plays next week, we'll compare.
Ask you a question. Okay,
because
so
he's a Hall of Famer. He must do so much better, so we'll match those numbers.
What's better, a future Hall of Famer quarterback or a guy that's a borderline starter?
Again, in his day, hold on. You're going to cut me off. Listen, in his day, I would agree with you 100%. You go with the Hall of Famer, hands down. However, those days are far behind Russell Wilson. And you know what I could kind of use to prove that? Was he ever out for 2 months with a tightness in any muscle in his body throughout the highlight of his career, whenever he was in his heights?
He's had a career. Justin Fields doesn't have a career yet.
That's what I'm saying. This guy's career is over. He can't step on the field because he has a tight leg. He had it for months. This is a disaster. You keep the young kid in. Don't mess with his confidence because he can move the ball. He can get out of the backfield if there's problems. I don't think Russell can.
Did you just say he can move the ball?
Out of the backfield. And I don't think...
Yeah, as a running back. Okay. So he's our best halfback. All right. The cons of starting.
That's not what I said.
That's what you just said. I just heard it. I heard the word for word.
He was the best halfback. That's what you heard. He was
Eddie,
the best.
Can we replay it? I need to rewind it.
You heard me say he was the best halfback we have. No.
I was ad-libbing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so cons for starting Russell Wilson. He hasn't played since last season. Huge con.
Right.
Like, I don't care how many reps he had this week in practice. The preseason game he hobbled around on. I get it. He's going to be rusty.
You would assume,
in the first half, which is when we stink anyway. All right, you're going up against Aaron Rodgers, who's probably going to slang the ball around the field. All right. The other con I have, this is my favorite one. He's 5'9".
Yeah.
He literally cannot grow between what is today, Wednesday and Sunday night. He cannot Bobby Brady and grow the 3 or 4 inches that he needs to be able to see over the offensive line. That's a huge con.
Everything that our offensive line is putting him in the position for is what he probably is not best suited for, yes.
All right. So because he's 5'9", they list him as like 5'11".
Did you also mention, too, last year when he had those really good numbers that he held the ball the longest out of any quarterback in the league?
Listen, I'm on cons. I'm on cons. Okay. I was on pros.
All right, stop yelling.
Just on pros. Okay. He can't see the middle of the field. So about 10 yards to the right of the hash mark and about 10 yards to the left of the hash mark, he cannot see any part of that field.
Right.
At all. It's just, it's off limits.
That's a big con.
The only way he did when he was younger, and you were alluding to this, was when he was mobile and they could move the pocket when he was younger.
Right.
Well, he doesn't even, he's down a calf, so he's playing with one leg, hasn't played since last season. He's 4'11" and can't see the middle of the field. So this is where we're going, Ryan. See, I thought I'd bring you around on my cons here. I know you were against me on the pros.
You should have did the cons and cons.
I am not a Russell Wilson fan. Let me let that cat out of the bag. He's obviously not mobile. He's not going to be able to avoid. How many sacks do you think Justin Fields would have taken last week if he was not mobile?
More.
Like a dozen?
More.
At least?
Yeah, I don't know.
That. Did you see that one play I sent you with supposedly our best offensive lineman that we moved up in the draft to take 11th overall last year?
Yeah.
Now, for you younger people out there that have played like Sega or PlayStation or what's the other one? The Xbox, okay? You know, your buddy, you go to the bathroom, you come back, your buddy hits like the pause button on your remote, and then the play snapped and you go to do something. That was Broderick Jones. He just literally just stood there and didn't do anything. Like what, Ryan, can you break down that play for me?
I don't remember the whole play, but I just know that we're very far into the second season to where somebody who came in that we brought in hoping to be a starter last season as a rookie, how he keeps moving back and back and back, Brian, it's beyond me.
He didn't even block. They hiked it and he just stood there.
Yeah.
Like it was like his controller broke.
Yeah.
He stood there and we have who's starting at right guard, a 4th-round pick. What's his name? McCormick?
Yeah.
Okay, who the heck's this center that's starting? I don't even know who this dude is.
Who is our center?
His name's somewhere. I have it in my notes. I had to write it down. But he played Ryan McCollum.
Aye.
Sounds Italian. Ryan McCollum.
Or Irish.
Thanks. He's part of the McCollum clan.
Good.
What the heck? Those 3 guys on the right side, McCollum.
And we still think it's a better idea to go with the quarterback that can't move a lot and has a tight calf for the last 3 months.
I'm pretty sure I was on X earlier today, and there was a bunch of the so-called experts out there. They have like millions of followers. I just started X like a month ago, so I have I don't know, hundreds of followers so far. Don't worry, I'll get there.
You haven't taken your shirt off yet.
Yeah, whenever I do, it's going to go back to 0. Or negative. So what I don't get is, I said to these guys, I said, Russell Wilson is going to get hurt in the first half if this is the case. What is Mike Tomlin thinking, Ryan? What is he thinking? Didn't I do like a 180? You thought I was going with the pros, but I really saw the light. I started with the pros because I knew where the cons were going to go.
I'm not sold that Mike Tomlin just isn't playing a game. Just a little bit of a head game, because now you do have a guy that, again, is a future Hall of Famer. Then you have another guy who's
going to be like a last-minute scratch, and Tomlin's going to outfool whoever the Jets coach is. Who's the non Middle Eastern guy that they hired? Wasn't that why they fired the guy?
I'm not real sure, but I wouldn't put it past Mike Tomlin. And let me make one more, just one more. Let me go back on one thing about Russell Wilson, and then we'll continue.
Is it on his pros?
It is. Now, do you recall the second Super Bowl? I mentioned
he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yes, you did. Now, let me just add the second Super Bowl that he was in. Do you recall that at the end of the game, they ran Marshawn Lynch down the field? He ran the ball down the field. What happens on the last play of the game when they decided to let Russell Wilson throw the ball to try to get a touchdown? It got intercepted. So to say that this guy was super great back when he was winning Super Bowls, I think is a stretch anyway. Russell Wilson was never great, in my opinion. He's really good. He won a Super Bowl. But again, I think the pros made him look a little better than what he really might be.
Justin Fields will never win a Super Bowl. That's my whole problem. And here's my biggest problem is, Mason Rudolph should have been the Steelers starter this entire time. You would have known by somewhere at the point last season if he was the guy for your next 5-7 years, or if you needed to go out and draft a guy. This whole, Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, then, Pickett's feelings were hurt, so they wanted to go back home to Philadelphia because they didn't sell any furniture at the Levin store or whatever happened. I mean, Amy was all the sales there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's why I bought my whole living room set from Levin.
Because of Amy?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Amy Pickett, by the way.
Yeah.
The little 5'3" little cutie. Amy, we know you're going to divorce him once he doesn't get to the next contract. We'll see how the Levin furniture sells then. So what happens? Does Russell Wilson get scratched or downgraded right before the game just so that the Jets prepared all week for Russell Wilson and then Justin Fields goes out there? Is that how brilliant Mike Tomlin is?
I believe that could very well be one of Mike Tomlin's ideas, but
he went out there and it just tightened up,
Yeah. I mean, come on, the situation that we've dealt with so far this year. For weeks and weeks and weeks, he didn't put Roman Wilson on the injury list, but yet Roman Wilson still didn't play because of an injury. Mike Tomlin plays these little games, and a lot of times people don't even understand what he's doing. He just does it.
Do you think he understands what he's doing?
You know what? At this point, I'm starting to wonder. So
Mike Tomlin's outsmarting himself. What are the odds, Ryan? Ryan Garazunas on the spot. What is the percentage that Russell Wilson takes the first offensive snap for the Steelers this week? What percentage?
I say 0. I think that they start Justin Fields.
0%?
I think that it's stupid to not to start the guy that.
Listen. This is Tomlinism. We're not talking about smart and stupid. We're talking about what is he going to do?
Because you got to think, on one hand, this team has not fell out of first place. Granted, it hasn't been great. We had 2 losses. They were both 3-point losses. We are 4-2. We haven't been out of first place. How do you take that quarterback out for a guy that's been hurt for 2 months? I mean, at least 2 months. I can't see it. And if it happens, my mind will be blown Bryan, my mind will be blown if Russell Wilson.
What time do they play? Is it like an 8 o'clock start?
It's a Sunday night, 8:20 start.
Didn't we just play last Sunday night?
And then we got Monday night next week.
Why are we playing Sunday night, Monday night? What? And then we don't play anybody from our division until I think week 17 or something.
What an odd schedule. And also, now that the former president is going to be there, this will be 2 games in a row. Last time we had Elon Musk here.
Is he going to be in the Jets box?
He might be.
That's what I heard.
I heard he was going to be in the Elon Musk suite.
Well,
I don't know. I didn't hear that.
No, I heard the owner of the Jets is like the biggest Trump guy, and that possibly he got him to come into his box to be waving the JETS Jets chant.
Interesting. I didn't know that. If that's true, that's something.
This is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to get into the rest of the Steelers whenever we come back from break, but we're not allowed to go to break. Ryan wants me to keep spinning my finger.
I'm doing the spinning finger thing.
The spinning finger. All right. Well, forget about it. We'll talk more.
Yeah, you're good. I just had to get a. All right. I'm ready.
Okay. Oh, Ryan clicked. He hit Control Alt Delete, and we're all set. All right. Listen, we're going to get into the injury report for the Steelers because I think that's huge. Whenever we come back from break, so you guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
You know, I've heard people refer to older veteran athletes as being all washed up. Well, quite frankly, that's a rather nice compliment if you ask me. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, Jim Riggio from the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. When you hear something like that, you have to consider the source of the water, that is. After all, getting washed up with Beaver Falls Municipal Authority water can't be a bad thing. That's because for over 80 years, we've made it possible for everyone to feel washed up, even if they are not star athletes. Click bfwater.net.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
Al's Pizza, next to Fisher's Beverage in New Brighton, is open. Yes, the owner of the food truck whose pizza you enjoy has a storefront in New Brighton. Next to Fisher's Beverage, Al's Pizza is open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Al's Pizza also has hoagies, calzones, pepperoni rolls, and gluten-free options. If you like pickles, you'll love their pickle pizza. Yes, pickle pizza. So stop out and see Al next to Fisher's Beverage in New Brighton for a pizza for your tailgates this football season. There's exciting news. A new pharmacy in New Brighton just opened, Forward RX. It's an independent community pharmacy that fills prescriptions at transparent cost-plus pricing on many generic medications. No insurance or discount coupons needed. Brandon Anthonopoulos will discuss your needs and how Forward RX can help you save money. The pharmacy experience you deserve is more affordable than you think. Become a Forward member today. Stop in 809 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check their prices at FWDRX.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. You can check him out alongside co-host Mike Mueller every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. till 12 p.m. on YouTube. Search Two Dumb Yinzers. That's D-U-M. Two Dumb Yinzers. They talk Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, and much, much more. Also, make sure you check us out here on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. We have a caller.
We do.
We were talking about the Steelers game Sunday night, and going to be in attendance is Donald Trump, former president, and anonymous gambler. Do you have any inside information? Is he sitting with Thomas Tull by any chance?
That's where Elon Musk. That's where he was. He was in his. Now, I think Tull is an actual minority owner of.
He is. Yes.
So I believe that's where he'll be if he's attending the game. That's where I imagine he'd be. You said about the Jets owner. Yeah, I don't think he wants to lose Western Pennsylvania by waving a chanting.
What do you mean? Trump's going to win New York City by a landslide, right? Don't the Republicans always win the New York City in a landslide?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Thomas Tull. He's a former bigwig out in Southern California and Hollywood. He did the movies The Hangover, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, all those Dark Knight movies. He's done tons of movies. He is a minority owner of the Steelers. And yeah, you're right. At one point in time before COVID, it was rumored that he was going to sell all of his stake with the Steelers and buy the Pirates, and then 2020 happened, and that all went out the window. So we're stuck with the hillbilly from the hills. What were you really calling about there, anonymous gambler?
Okay, so Devontae, I heard you saying about Mike Tomlin and psyching them out and just benching Russell Wilson or making him inactive. Devontae Adams, his hamstring, it just magically healed. I like to picture him. Have you ever seen the movie The Usual Suspects? I like to picture him walking out of the Oakland Raiders facility like Verbal from The Usual Suspects, and just magically he's fine. He's able to run routes.
Right. Went down the sidewalk, correct? About halfway down the sidewalk.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, he's all limp-legged, and then it just he takes a few steps, and it just magically straightens out, and he gets in a car, and there you go, off to New York City, apparently.
I have a hard time thinking he's going to play this Sunday.
It all depends what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, I guess. Right?
Right.
He's going to go. Rodgers is going to go into deep meditation and take whatever psychedelic pills he takes and come out of it with a plan, right?
That's exactly right. You guys also brought up Broderick Jones. He looked like he needed a map on some of his plays. He didn't know where the hell he was.
Maybe we'll have Google contact him, and they can like, or maybe MapQuest. Maybe he's not even on Google Earth yet. He needs back to MapQuest. He could read the directions on how to block the guy in front of him.
Well, okay, so you brought up about your controller just getting disconnected. That's exactly what it was. That was a great analogy. And how frustrated does that make you as a player when you're playing? What do you think Tomlin or the offensive coordinator or Justin Fields thought? Like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here?
If I'm the quarterback, the next play I hike it and I throw it right off his helmet. If the coach isn't going to take him out, like you've got to make a stand. I don't care if it goes up in the air and they intercept it. I'll be like, Mike Tomlin, why did you have him in the next play after you saw that?
I know. Do you think they hate Russell Wilson and they're making him start behind this atrocious line? Because let's be honest, he's basically a human statue at this point in his career. Do they want him to get hurt for some reason? Does Tomlin not like him?
Wasn't there a football movie, where the offensive line didn't block on purpose so that they would just smear the quarterback? And it took like the third down for him to say, all right, guys, let's try this. And like they just didn't block on first and second down. Is that what's going to happen again?
It looks like it. Once you put pressure on Russell Wilson, everyone remembers what they saw in Denver for 2 years. There was no cooking going on. It was just a dumpster fire.
And a lot of people are forgetting New York Jets. They've got a pretty quick defense. This is not a team that has a bad defense.
Wait, hold on, anonymous gambler. When you were asking what was going on in Denver the last couple of years, was that when they moved the Major League All-Star game from Atlanta to Denver because of voting? Was that what you were referring to?
No, but I will never forget that. Talk about taking money out of a blue state. Oh my God.
Let me ask you real quick, Anonymous. Now, the fact that just a little over a week ago when we played on Sunday Night Football, Elon Musk was, of course, at Acrisure Stadium. Now Donald Trump will be there this coming Sunday night. It's obvious that what they're doing. Do you think that this is going to play a role? Do you think that this is going to help out, Donald Trump's run here in a couple of weeks whenever they do have an election?
Not how you think it will, but the video of him waving a terrible towel at Adams will be shared on Twitter millions of times, and it'll get sent Monday morning to a bunch of people's text messages. Look how cool it was. So it'll keep him talking and being talked about here in Western Pennsylvania in a good way. There's just always, I don't want to make anyone nervous, but you don't think they'll try to kill him. Talking about like the Dark Knight and stuff that the owner's box is going to be in. Remember in the second one, they had that giant terrorism attack at the stadium.
Yes.
I think it was Hines Ward was actually the actor running away. The only Steeler to survive was Hines Ward, the slowest Steeler at the time, which is hilarious. But you don't think they'll try to kill him at the Steelers game, do you?
Oh, I hope not. But here's the whole thing, though, Anonymous, and I know you probably want to make a few more points, but I grew up in a middle class family. All right, why doesn't Kamala? Why doesn't she try to go to like some sporting event like this? I know she got what's Taylor Swift to back her or whatever. Like, but what go to an Eagles game or something. Wouldn't that be smart?
The same reason Jerry Sandusky no longer shows up at Penn State games. Because he's in jail too. Because he'd get booed out of the stadium.
He would. She would. They would. Yes.
Yes. That's nothing to do with that kind of. But they'd be booed out of the stadium. No one's going to want Kamala there. There's probably a good portion that don't want Trump there, but
right.
It's minimal. It's minimal.
More people want Snoop Dogg there than either Kamala and Trump combined, right?
Absolutely. He'll probably got more cheers than anyone.
Right.
But you really by halftime you won't be able to see inside his suite, if you know what I mean. All fogged up in there.
Right. Yeah, that's probably just a fog machine. They probably just installed a fog machine there.
Oh, and it's Halloween too, getting the spirits. But
anything else, Anonymous?
No, you guys are hilarious, by the way. Your first segment, hilarious. The way you put the pros and the cons together.
Oh, that was the worst list I've ever heard.
I think outweigh the pros.
Ryan loved it.
I think the pros outweigh the cons.
You like to see Russell Wilson get the nod this week, Joe? I'm sorry, the Anonymous.
Just to see what happens. Kind of like I want to see Kamala win the presidency, just to see what happens.
Just to see the train wreck.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
I got to pay for my daughter's college the next 4 years. We can't take this type of risk over 4 years.
Right.
All right, fellas.
Thanks, man.
All right, take care. All right, so there's one person so far that thinks that possibly the Russell Wilson show would be exciting enough to at least watch. Would that give us something to talk about on Monday?
Oh, absolutely. And as I was saying, guys, you can't underestimate the Jets defense. They put a nice defense together over these years as they were rebuilding, rebuilding what they do up there in New York. But they have a lot of speed. Those DBs are quick. They have Sauce Gardner back there. They got some guys that could get to the quarterback. I'm telling you, yes, for the smarts, I think Russell Wilson would certainly get the edge. But as far as everything else, just mobility, getting out of the way, being able to move around, I think Justin Fields has that advantage. And I just think that this Jets defense is really fast. And I think they'll certainly be aggressive and test if Russell Wilson's still going to be able to make those throws downfield that he would need to make to win that kind of game.
So what do you think? They're just going to blitz him, put some pressure on him, try to take away those hot reads and try to make him deep, throw the ball deep?
You got to get contact on the guy, just as we plan to do with Aaron.
Yeah, they're going to blitz him.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt in my mind.
And how many hits
is
Russell Wilson going to be able to take back there? There's
not very many,
right.
if more than 2 or 3.
Exactly. I don't think it's a good idea. Maybe against the Giants. Maybe. I mean, that's not a really good team at all. But if you watched the Jets the other night, like I did playing the Bills, Bryan, I mean, you texted me. You said it was a pretty boring game, which I do agree.
The second half was just like, that was like watching paint dry.
But on the other hand, you got to think to yourself, they lost to the Bills 23-20. Think of the last time we played the Bills, how that went back last year in the playoffs. Okay, you might say...
We did better without T.J. Watt than we have in the playoffs with T.J. Watt.
But then we let up 40-some points.
We let up 30-some against the Bills.
And they let up 20. And also, they may have Devontae Adams in their lineup, which is just another thing.
What do you... I don't think he's going to play.
I would think no. I
think he's got to learn the playbook.
You
I think
generally
he's
don't see somebody coming that week and joining on the field that week.
I agree.
rare.
I agree. So here's the odd thing, right? So Devontae Adams, he was supposed to play against us last week, right?
Yes. But he was too hurt.
He's going to play against us this week, possibly.
Yes, but he's...
Do you think he'll get traded to the Giants? and not the San Francisco Giants, the New York Football Giants.
Hey, if Aaron Rodgers goes there first...
Did you know that they were the New York baseball Giants before they were the San Francisco Giants?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was they had these crazy names. They came out of nowhere. New York was like, let's call them the Football Giants, and let's call them the Baseball Giants. I can't wait to play the Giants, by the way.
Yeah, next week.
Not that I want to skip ahead, but
Monday. No, that should be a game that we should be able to handle them. And that's why I'm saying maybe go with Russell Wilson that game, because I wouldn't think their attack would be as tough as the Jets can be.
I don't know. I don't think Devontae, good Lord, Deontay Johnson, Devontae Adams, I don't think he's going to play. And if he does, I don't think he's going to be a factor. I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to hold him enough in the first half that, he's just not going to get acclimated to the game at all. There's not going to be any. I will tell you that when we come back, I do want to talk about something other than the Steelers real quick, something close to home that I do want to go over, and then we'll get right back into the Steelers versus Jets. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We're right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Rev up your engines. It's time to celebrate summer in a GNU way. GNU's Bodyworks has everything it takes to make you the star of the show at this year's car cruises. It's time to restore that old ride to its former glory. Call on Gary Snare and his team at GNU's Bodyworks with over 20 years of experience. Gary cares about your car almost as much as you do. He can get your motorcycle ready for the road too. GNU's, specializing in class restoration, happy days are here again. Call GNU's Bodyworks on 8th Street in Freedom.
Tri-State Sporting Arms on Main Street in New Bryan is now open. Stop in and explore their extensive selection of high-quality firearms, pistols, and accessories. Tri-State Sporting Arms also pays top dollar for used firearms. Their experienced and highly trained staff is here to assist you in selecting the right firearm for you. Stop on down to Beaver County's newest firearm store, Tri-State Sporting Arms, at 807 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check them out on Facebook.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
The leaves are starting to fall, and so is the temperature. That's why it's the perfect time to call McGee Heating and Air Conditioning for that furnace check you know you need. It's comforting to know that McGee Heating and Air Conditioning has been serving customers for over 60 years. As an important part of Beaver County, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning is happy to support Beaver County Radio's Trunk or Treat car cruise on October 19th on Dutch Ridge Road in Beaver. McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, family owned and operated, Main Street, Aliquippa.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
It's now time for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888. and 724-774-1888. You can also watch live on the WBVP-WMBA Facebook page. Here is your host, Bryan Pasquale.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I am here at the St. Barnabas Studios. With me today is Ryan Garazuna, so you can check him out alongside co-host Mike Mueller every Monday through Friday on YouTube from 11 a.m. till noon, The Two Dumb Yinzers. Make sure you check that out. Ryan, in local news, I want to say he's in his 50s. The former boxer, the former IBF, former champion of the world, Paul Spadafora.
Yeah, of course.
He is, according to his wife that tried to kill him 2 years ago, he's going to have a full recovery. Apparently, last night at some point, his dog attacked him. And when he did, his arm was sliced open and an artery opened up.
Oh, wow.
They were able to take an artery from his leg and replace the artery in his wrist or his arm. And supposedly, according to his wife that allegedly tried to kill him 2 years ago, is saying that he is set to make a full recovery. So to the Spadafora fans and family and friends, our prayers go out. I mean, a dog attack, crazy.
It was his dog?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the boxers, they always have a life, don't they? Something's always going on.
He's talking about the human boxers, not the dog boxers, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. In other news, before we get back to the Steelers, because we're definitely going to talk about the Steelers this whole 2 hours, there's no way we can talk about anything else, but I do have to get this in there. The Ravens fan, everybody's seen this on social media, the Ravens fan, John William, what is it? Callis, Callis, Callis. It would be Callis. According to Fox 5, they called his former employer and asked if he was still with them, and they had said that they had fired him. He is, well, they didn't say they fired him. Some insurance company, he no longer is employed by them.
Right.
So this guy, and I heard not only did he do this, and back in like 2001, he was charged with like second-degree assault and pled not guilty and was on probation and all kinds of stuff. And a girl, I want to say in some college somewhere, I don't know the exact details. She posted all over the dorms pictures of him with the words he said to her as he was allegedly rapping her. We'll say rapping.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know what we're allowed to say on that. I don't want to accuse somebody of something so egregious. But yes, so she posted all of and it was very, very explicit and very nasty. So apparently, and this is all just speculation here, this guy does not need to be in society, right?
I mean, everything.
If all this is, even remotely true.
Right. I don't know the guy. It's hard to say. I can only go by what I'm reading. We're not the
judge, jury, whatever, executioner, right?
What I thought, one thing that I took away from this, I mean, I seen the video just like everybody else did. And if you didn't see it, of course, it was after the Commanders-Ravens game, the fan that went around beating up fans that were wearing...
He had a Lamar Jackson jersey on, correct?
Yes, and he was beating up Commanders fans on the street. The one thing that caught my attention was, what did he kept yelling? I never lose, he yelled. I never lose. He kept yelling into the camera after he did that. What I saw was him punching people in the face that wasn't fighting back.
It was all sucker punches, yes.
So what a ridiculous thing to say. You never lose when the people that you're fighting aren't really fighting you. You know what I mean?
Here's one thing I learned. My buddy, he's like 6'4", and he's built, right? Just big guy, and he's somebody you don't want to mess with, right? And he said, Bryan, whenever I was younger, I used to run my mouth, and I'd fight anybody. And he goes, and then this one time, he goes, I was probably in my early 20s. I ran into this guy that just picked me up and threw me on the ground like I was a rag doll. And I got up and I was ready to just, throw hands on and go after this guy. And I went after him, and he goes, sure enough, the guy picked me up and just threw me on the ground.
Yeah.
He goes, I got up and I was so angry, and I went after this guy again for the third time. And he goes, wouldn't you know, he picked me up and just threw me on the ground like I was a rag doll. And the guy said to me, are you done? And I said, yeah, I'm done. And he goes, and I learned at that point in my life that there's always somebody bigger and there's always somebody badder.
Yeah. And I think that touches in every walk of life. In sports, in the work world, in everything. There's always somebody that's going to be better, and that's why you try to keep a level head in life. But as you said, with that guy, he wasn't expecting to get thrown around at 6'4", and so.
And he did, like he just said, the guy just picked him up and slammed him right on the concrete three times in a row, and I guess it knocked some sense into him. And probably getting beat up at that point in time probably saved him from a lot of legal problems, maybe physical problems or physical problems for other people. So you learn your lesson one way or another, right?
Yeah, you do. You really do. And, like I said, this guy, he seemed like a goofball. Hopefully, and he's
I'm sure alcohol was involved too.
Absolutely.
We've all done dumb things with alcohol, and I'm not saying I ever punched somebody in the face with alcohol. I never did that, but you've done some dumb things. So hopefully all of the rumors aren't true, and he's not this awful human, hopefully.
He's the poster child of what you think of when you think of a Ravens fan. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what? When I say that, I think of the time when when Ray Lewis told the fans to go into the bathrooms, and if anybody has Steeler jerseys on, beat them up. And then the time when Ben was retiring and they put every video of him getting smashed. The Ravens, they just always have a mean spirit towards us. So, I mean, to me, that not every Ravens fan's a bad fan, but I'm just saying it didn't surprise me.
So I've taken my daughter to 2 Steelers games. One when she was 18 and one when she was like 3. Both preseason games. We went in, we were out by halftime both times because of these reasons. You just can't take your family to... These are not family events.
Yeah.
Because of people like this and the amount of alcohol that's consumed. And and or drugs?
Oh, absolutely. I have a few stories of myself, and I don't even know if I could tell them on the air about things taking my kids.
All right, everyone, we're going to get into Ryan, lie down on this couch and tell us some stories.
But, you're right. And there's a lot of alcohol. Why not take your kid to the bar and let them run around while all the grown-ups are drinking and having a good time? Sometimes it just isn't the best situation. You could take your kids to the Pirate games. It's a much more mellow environment, but sometimes the Steelers, you have to second.
No Pirates fans are fighting any other fans because we have nothing to fight about.
Right.
We could just beat ourselves up.
Yes.
Over and over and over again for how many years now? Since 92?
Yeah, it's been quite
Ryan, what year were you born? 1979?
78.
Okay, I was close. So, what month?
July.
Okay, so you were not even a year old.
You're like a fortune teller. You're asking me all the questions before you tell me about myself.
Yes. So, no, but you were, yes. I'm seeing something in your future. The Pittsburgh Pirates will win the World Series before you're one. You weren't even one the last time the Pittsburgh Pirates won the World Series.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of which, you know how on your show, okay, so Ryan, everybody check out Ryan, the Two Dumb Yinzers. It's a great show. It's on every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. Till noon. It's called The Two Dumb Yinzers. It's him and Mike, and they're dumb and they're Yinzers. But it's a great show.
Fair, yeah.
Okay. So Ryan, at the end of his show, does trivia. And I thought what we could do today, Ryan, and I'm probably going to ask you this in the 5 o'clock hour, so act surprised whenever I do ask you this question.
What question?
I do have, you do, how does your trivia work each week?
I ask a question and I see if people know the answer.
But what's the question about, like in general?
Generally, what we do, especially during football season, is we'll take the team that the Steelers are playing that week, for example, the Jets this week, and I will ask Jets questions all week long to see what people know.
Okay, I have a Jets question for you.
Okay.
Can we do some one man's opinion midweek trivia, Jets trivia?
Absolutely.
So, Joe Namath, Broadway Joe, right?
Joe Willie, yes.
He guaranteed a win in Super Bowl III. Now, where was Joe Namath from? We know Beaver Falls. Yes. So, Joe, local guy, guaranteed the win and actually won the Super Bowl for the American Football Conference, I guess was that
yes.
was okay. So, who was the Jets losing quarterback in their other Super Bowl appearance? The New York Jets quarterback in their other Super Bowl appearance. We're going to play some music here.
They didn't have another Super Bowl appearance.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. The Jets have only been to the Super Bowl one time, Super Bowl III. Think about how lucky we are.
Yeah, right.
You know, Mike Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game in 7 years. We haven't been to the Super Bowl since, 2010?
And even the Pirates, and I'm not changing sports, but
yes.
Look, we've had at least the 90s. The Jets, come on, 1969 was the last time that they had one.
I would have been able to fool
season.
Mike. I know I would have been able to fool Mike on that. Mike would have been like,
More than
man,
likely.
he's probably thinking like, was it the 80s? What 90s? When did they make it to the Super Bowl? And who they lose to? Yeah, the New York Jets have not been to the Super Bowl since Super Bowl III.
Coincidentally, it was a Mets-Jets year, 1969. The Mets and the Jets did win the championships.
All right, listen, we've got less than 2 minutes. I didn't want to talk about baseball since you brought up the Mets. They do play tonight.
Yes.
They do play against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Mets have going for them tonight. I have this somewhere in my notes. The Italian kid, what the heck's his name? Begins with an S. Severino. I don't think he's Italian, but Severino is going against the Dodgers. Bueller?
Yes.
Anyone? Voodoo Economics. The Mets are at home, 8-8. The series is tied 1-1. Who do you like tonight? Who do you like in the series?
I like the Mets. I won another Subway Series. I was really into the one in 2000 that the Yankees won 4-2. I'm looking forward to another one, so hopefully I want to see the Mets and the Yankees.
Derpy, first off, did you hear that he wants a Subway Series? That means your Cleveland Indians aren't making it that far. They are down 2-0 to the Yankees, and we know it's the Guardians, but we still like to call them the Indians because it should be their name.
And on the other hand, I'm not into West Coast teams in any sport, so I could couldn't care less if it was
like the Dodgers. Like nobody likes the Dodgers.
Right.
We like Ohtani. Outside of Ohtani, do we really care about any Dodger?
We just like to see the freakish things that he does on the field, and besides that, I don't.
6 for 6, 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases, 50-50. I mean,
no hitter he throws. All in the same game, which he didn't pitch this year. But
right, he should have. He should have. Speaking of which, before we get, because I don't want to talk about baseball anymore, other than this little. We got a couple minutes before we have to go to break. Ohtani, he got what? $700 million? $600 million? What's his contract? It's like something ridiculous.
Outrageous, yeah.
Will Paul Skeens get a $1 billion contract? That's my prediction, that Paul Skeens, out of anyone in professional sports, will be the first player to get a $1 billion contract.
Oh, wow.
It's still 3, 4, 5 years out.
Yeah, right.
The money I think will get closer. I don't know if it'll get there, but that's my prediction. A $1 billion, and the little cute girl. What's his girlfriend's name?
You're gonna act like you don't know her name. You literally said her name at least a dozen times every day since he's been drafted.
I did not say her name once today.
Livy Dunn.
Livy Dunn. Yes. So I think Livy Dunn is at least hanging around until this big contract. What say you?
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, I don't blame her. But on the other hand,
she's going to hang around like she's on with the uneven bars. Is that what they're called when there's the one bar, the low bar?
I certainly.
She's a famous gymnast. If you guys didn't know,
I certainly wouldn't run from the relationship at this point if I was her. I mean, if you got something good going, but I
heard rumors about her and the Pirate Parrot. That's all I heard.
It could very well be true about Paul Skeens, not about her and the Pirate Parrot, of course. But you just don't know. I mean, one day, maybe after his time's up here in Pittsburgh, maybe the Yankees will say, hey, it's about that time that there is a $1 billion paid player, and this could be him. I think that it's a very good possibility. We don't know who's coming up over the next few years. Maybe someone will come along that's better. Maybe somebody will come along who's better, that's a hitter, fielder. It's a possibility.
But Paul could be a DH as well, could he not? I mean, he hit how many 25 home runs in the Air Force?
He hit a lot of home runs in college. Yeah.
He didn't play. He didn't play in the field or DH. I don't think I have DH in college, but he didn't play in the field at LSU. But he did at Air Force his first year.
And that's the thing. I mean, do you want him to DH? Do you want him to not pitch? I think that's his bread and butter as far as we know.
My dad said that last night the Cleveland can't hit. Whatever. We're going to get a break here in a second, but Cleveland can't hit, and they put in a pinch hitter for their catcher at one point in the game. And he goes, and wouldn't you know? He goes, who the heck was that catcher that the Pirates had? And I'm like, Austin Hedges? And he says, yes. Came up with the bases loaded, strikes out.
The smartest guy in baseball. He is so terrible, but yet he finds his way on the team that makes the World Series every freaking year. I don't get it.
Gets up with the bases loaded, and we just know he's not going to hit it.
Right.
I mean, supposedly the greatest pitch framer on this side of the Mississippi, and
that's the results he gets everywhere. Even when he went down, where was he? Texas last year, and they won the World Series. He ended up playing there, and then this year he's with the Guardians.
Yeah,
we'll see. Maybe he'll be a Yankee next year.
All right, listen. There's something I want to get into, and it has to do with the Steelers next. It's something we haven't talked about. It has nothing to do with Justin Fields. It has nothing to do with Russell Wilson, but it is very important. I want to get into that on the other side of the break. You've been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Do you like sports? Then tune in every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. Bryan is loaded with statistics and interesting sports viewpoints. The show can also be seen on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Plus, Bryan will be taking your calls as well. That's One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio.
Your Beaver County McDonald's restaurants are proud to partner with Beaver County Radio in sponsoring all the local high school football games this season. Stop into any of your local McDonald's restaurants for everyday value items like 2 for $3 mix and match, sausage burrito, sausage McMuffin, and hash browns. Don't forget to download the app for extra special savings. Looking for a great part-time job? Visit mchire.com today to apply. Good luck to all the Beaver County football teams this season from your local McDonald's restaurants. I'm loving it.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, coming to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
Happy days are here again at the annual Trunk or Treat Car Cruise this Saturday, October 19, from noon to 3 p.m. at 4301 Dutch Ridge Road, Beaver. Brought to us by presenting sponsor Moon Township Ford, it's the car cruise you've been waiting for all year. So come out and celebrate the fall season. See the classic cars you love, plus a few new ones too. Moon Township Ford will have a special display showcasing some of its newer vehicles. The Trunk or Treat Car Cruise this Saturday, presented by Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Are you looking for a different kind of morning talk show? One that's in a town hall setting with politics, sports, and much more. Just not in that particular order. Then join Frank Sparks weekday mornings at 6:30 for Driving in the Fast Lane on WBVP.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
It's now time for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888. and 724-774-1888. You can also watch live on the WBVP-WMBA Facebook page. Here is your host, Bryan Pasquale.
All right, everyone, welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports. Also, make sure you go over to YouTube and check out my YouTube page. It is also called One Man's Opinion on Sports. There's a picture of LeBron James holding up his arms, crying like a little baby, and it says One Man's Opinion on Sports. Go over, click on that. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and check out all of my sports content. There is football, basketball, baseball. There's soon to be hockey. My next post is actually be about hockey, Ryan.
Okay.
Do you know who Jessica Campbell is?
Yeah, she is the coach over. I think you asked me last week.
Yes. Yes, she is the first full-time coach. She's an assistant coach for the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah,
I'm going to do a little bit on her. It's going to be a short, little, quick video, but I think it's important. I mean, I think it's super cool. I was going to do the stars of the NHL, the out with the old, with the Crosbys and Ovechkins, and then with the new, but I was like, you know what, I could do that a little deeper into the season whenever the weather breaks. But she's the first female full-time coach in the NHL, and I'm going to do a little story on it.
There was, do you remember when we were kids, Brian? Of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning was a expansion team when we were young. Do you remember when they brought in the female goalie? Tampa Bay became the first team that had a female goalie. She played, I think she played.
Was she like the third string goalie or something? Yeah, like the guy that did the Zamboni and won a game, gave up like 8 goals, but they won like 12-9
But they've always been kind of progressive in the NHL in that sense. And as you said, I think that's very important that you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if, listen, okay, so the whole point of my YouTube channel, One Man's Opinion on Sports, make sure you go over and check that out. It's not to get views and likes and make money off of there. I mean, that's nice and all, but it's to get news out that the mainstream is not going to report on. Basically, that's my goal. I can make a video about, I don't know, I just did a video on like the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL through weeks 5, and yeah, people are going to watch that. People are going to be entertained by that. But this video is going to be about a young woman who probably was laughed at all the way through her career, wanting to be a coach in a man's dominated sport. She was a former player, played for Canada, and coached all the way up through. You know who the head coach of the Kraken is?
I do not know.
I'll give you a hint. He was a former Penguins coach, won a Stanley Cup with us.
A head coach?
Head coach for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Danny Bausma.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Dan Bausma. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's been the head coach of the Seattle Kraken. Yeah. Dude, West Coast, I've never seen a game of theirs, I don't think. Because if it's going to be on, I'm going to be sleeping.
You're right.
And it's not going to be on very often. So, yeah, Dan Bausma, he's been the head coach of the Kraken since since they became a expansion team.
You know what I do like, and I don't know how the Kraken's doing right now, but one thing that I do know after watching the whole, having the experience of watching the Las Vegas Golden Knights, I like the way hockey does their expansion. Dude, it wasn't, Brian, I think a year, maybe 2 years, but the Las Vegas Golden Knights were already in the playoffs. They were already
their first season. They made it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
I like that. Again, you watch other sports; those teams take decades sometime to get in that position.
Yeah, the Jaguars and Panthers lost 15, 14 games every year for several years.
And neither one of them teams have won a Super Bowl. Jacksonville hasn't even been to a Super Bowl. So that's been a pretty long time.
Didn't Jacksonville win all of their games but lose to the Titans 3 times that one year that the Titans went and lost to the Rams?
There was something like that, yeah.
I think they were 14-2, and they won all their games. They lost to the Titans twice, and then they lost to the Titans to go to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yes.
And there was something. I didn't remember that's what it was, but yeah.
Yeah, so here's what I wanted to talk about. We got about 5 minutes left, Ryan, before we go to break and start the whole second hour and go through what is likely a very talked about week of sports here in Pittsburgh, especially with the quarterback situation. But the one thing I want to talk about, and it's your homeboy that you like to dog a lot, and I'm a huge fan, and he's made me look stupid here for the last season and a half, but Alex Highsmith is likely to play this week, which is huge.
It is huge. Now, listen, that needs to be put in context. Now, the guy, I agree. I don't think the money that we gave him, I certainly thought that we could have got the production that we get from Alex Highsmith from Bud Dupree. Easily, I think that we could have got that from Bud Dupree. I wouldn't have given that money to Alex Highsmith, but I do acknowledge that he is a solid outside linebacker on that side. And when he's not in there, it's obvious. I mean, you've seen what happened last week. And even when he went down the week prior, I had said to myself, all right, well, you have Herbig who could step up. He could, hopefully fill in that spot. Well, what happens? He gets injured the next week, and Herbig's not in. So now when you're on Jeremiah Moon and linebackers further down the list, you then absolutely 100% feel the fact that Alex Highsmith is not in the lineup. Do I think that he's the guy that's do I think that he should be making the money we gave him, the contract? I don't think that. I don't think he's this great linebacker, but I do believe he is a solid enough linebacker that you feel it when he's not in the game.
Yeah, plus he's big. He can play the run.
That's what you really felt last week.
Yeah, Herbig's, you're not losing a step there. You might actually be gaining a step with when you go from Highsmith to Herbig on the pass rush.
Yeah.
But against the run, Herbig was a huge downgrade, and then you lose Herbig, and you got, who did you say?
Jeremiah Moon. He blocked a punt, but besides for that, how much can you expect from a third-string linebacker?
He's a special teams guy, right? That's what he's supposed to do. He's not supposed to be the starting right outside linebacker.
Right.
Does that give? They dropped somebody? They brought somebody on the practice squad, brought him up.
Yeah.
He played 10 snaps last. I can't remember his name.
Even that, yeah.
And then they dropped him back down. So I'm assuming that means that Highsmith is going to play.
Yeah, for everything that I heard so far, my big scoop this week on injuries was that Highsmith will be playing, and also that Zach Frazier is week to week. So those were the two positives.
Zach Frazier's out.
Yes.
This week. Also out is who the heck? Herbig.
Yeah.
Those are the two that are definitely 110% out, but supposedly Zach Frazier was maybe possibly a month or 2 month or even season-long injury, now it's okay, he might be back next week. If not, we have the bye week after that. He'll probably likely be back after the bye week, the latest. So that's good news.
After this game right here, week to week is the best case scenario you'd want from what we've seen.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. So the Steelers have the Jets and Donald Trump at home this Sunday night. Then we get an 8-day break and have the New York Football Giants at home the following Monday, and then we have a nice bye week. And Ryan, I'd like to win the next 2 games, but if we can go 1-1,
yeah,
and be 5-3.
I think if you start Russell Wilson, I think we have a better chance of winning this game with the guy that's already been playing. I hope I'm wrong. Listen, if Russell Wilson gets in there and he does great, I'm going to be thrilled. I'm not going to sit there and go, yay, just not the other guy. But you go with the hot hand. When do you ever take the hot hand out in sports?
Listen, can we not say Justin Fields is the hot hand? Can we say the hot feet? Because he won that game with his legs. He did not win it with his arm.
But you know what? He doesn't. There's not bad. He doesn't. Again, not a lot of interceptions. He's thrown 1 interception in the first 6 games, and it was batted around.
He fumbles the ball 4 times a game.
He didn't fumble last game though. No, but I agree.
He puts the ball on the ground.
I agree with you.
It's not always a fumble, but he puts the ball on the ground. Here's my thing. I am anti Russell Wilson. I didn't want him in here. I thought it was just going to be a step backwards. Justin Fields, to me, also not the guy, but I wanted to see if he could be the guy. I wanted him to start every game this season. I want him to start every game next season, and I want him to start every game the season after that. And then, if he's not the guy, all right, you start over. But this starting over every year,
it's
Trubisky,
it's very Cleveland Brown like.
Wilson, then now
see how
Fields,
that
and it's
plays.
just like you're wasting. If T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward are the guys, you're wasting their careers basically.
I forget who said it, and there was somebody that I'd seen online. They said, listen, that would be one thing if you were going from Ben Roethlisberger to Kent Graham. That's not the case. I think these two guys are close enough in skill, and I think what equals out because
Kent Graham in his prime and Ben Roethlisberger at the end of his career, or
I think either way I'd still take Ben Roethlisberger. But listen, again, I think you got to go with the youth against this team. If you're going to go with the elder to maybe test him out, I think you wait till the Giants game. I wouldn't in 100 years put Russell Wilson.
All right, everyone, we have a hard break because it is 5:00. We are going to come back. We are going to talk about, I guess, the whole Steelers situation, the upcoming game, how they did last game, whenever we come back. So you guys don't go anywhere. You've been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
New Brighton's annual Halloween parade is back this year by ghoulish demand. Make plans to come enjoy this spooky New Brighton tradition Wednesday, October 23rd, starting at 6:30 p.m. Legend says that this parade full of your favorite ghosts, ghouls, goblins, fire trucks, and bands started back in the 40s. If you would like to dress up in your favorite costume or have a group band or float and want to be in the parade, email nbparade@gmail.com. Beaver County Radio will broadcast the parade on Facebook Live so that family and friends around the world can be a part of this tradition. The parade features local bands and, of course, the best thing about Halloween, candy. Come out and enjoy the New Brighton Halloween Parade, 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, October 23rd, and have a ghoulish good time, if you dare.
Seen all the construction here in Beaver County? Work on the Frankfurt Bridge, sewage improvements in Hopewell and Beaver, the connection of Darlington residents to the Beaver Falls water system after the Norfolk Southern derailment, and replacement of the Montgomery locks and dam. It's the largest infrastructure project in 50 years, and it's the work of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Donald Trump held press conferences saying he was going to fix our infrastructure, but he failed. Too busy tweeting. Failed to build a wall, didn't get Mexico to pay for it. We lost 3 million jobs and got stuck with the largest deficit ever. It's simple. Should we support the failures of Trump just so he can give himself and his billionaire friends like Elon Musk more money? Or move our part of Pennsylvania forward with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? America's Future Majority Fund paid and is responsible for the content of this advertising. America'sFutureMajority.com. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the second hour of One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. You can check him out alongside co-host Mike Mueller every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. till noon. Check them out on YouTube. Search Two Dumb Yinzers. That's D-U-M. Two Dumb Yinzers. They talk Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, and much, much more. Also, make sure you check us out here on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. If you'd like to chime in today, please give us a call at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. We'll talk about whatever you want, but the main topic is the Pittsburgh Steelers, their quarterback situation, and what you think is going to happen against the Jets this week. Ryan, last hour we started off with some pros and cons of Russell Wilson starting. Excuse me there. Some of the pros I have that Russell Wilson's a known commodity. He is a better passer. He is a Super Bowl champion. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's much more accurate. He can read the defenses better. He's going to spread the ball around, which we know that Fields only throws to Pickens and Harris out of the backfield and likes to run it. Last year, Russell Wilson was fantastic in the red zone, so when we get the ball down there, it's not just these run plays and settle for a Boswell field goal. You're totally against this, I guess, pro Russell Wilson starting.
I am. For a couple, just let me give you a couple of things here. Yesterday,
he's got the interweb up.
Yesterday at the press conference, they had asked Mike Tomlin. They had said this. They asked if Russell Wilson has the ability to escape the rush the way that Justin Fields does. He did it, and he did it against the Raiders. And Mike Tomlin's question was, no, he does not.
Well, nobody does. I mean, Lamar Jackson does.
But isn't that a bit of a concern to you for a guy who's moving up, who's getting older, who had an injury that hasn't been able to move because of this injury? Shouldn't that be something that should be put into consideration? And if no, why not?
So we've had Dan Neely on the show plenty of times, and Dan Neely was my center in flag football, right? So I was the quarterback. And basically, Dan Neely was my center for two reasons. One, he could snap like a long snapper.
Yeah.
So instead of me being like 5 yards deep, he could snap it to me 10, 15 yards deep, right? So I could catch the ball, get the grip on the ball, look up, and see my receivers before I'm getting attacked by like 8 linemen, right? Most of the guys that we would have snap, I would be like 3-5 yards deep, and like by the time I get my hands on the ball, I'm already getting sacked. The point of that story is, how is Russell Wilson going to avoid the pressure if, one, he's older? Okay, so he's older. I get that. But he's had this calf injury, which he's not been able to play, let alone scramble for his life.
At game speed of guys in a league that's the best and the quickest and the strongest and the fastest at what they do, I think this becomes a challenge. And let me also throw in one more quick thing that while I do have the internet open here, Brian, Justin Fields right now has a higher passer rating than
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams, Andy Dalton, Geno Smith, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott, and Aaron Rodgers. Again, you're trying to go between the two. Is this guy good enough? Has he played up to the ability that he should? And here's some numbers going up against a young quarterback named C.J. Stroud, who people think tend to be the future of this league. Stroud has a 68% completion rating. Justin Fields just a little bit over 66. Total touchdowns, Stroud 10, Justin Fields 10. Interceptions, C.J. Stroud 4, Justin Fields 1. So comparison to somebody.
How many fumbles did they have?
Well, they don't have that.
Yeah, they don't list that. He's had a fumble a game.
He didn't fumble last game.
All right. Well, then he had 5 fumbles the 5 weeks before that. Like how Justin Fields? I know you're listening. I know you're upset that you're not getting the start, but listen, we put in a good word for you. Why can't you hold on to the ball? What is so difficult about that?
You know what I think it is? I'm going to be honest with you. When these guys, same thing as Lamar Jackson. They're quarterbacks. Still, at the end of the day, they're really fast. They're really athletic. They make a lot of plays, but they are still quarterbacks. And you get a quarterback who's out there running around holding the ball like a loaf of bread. There's times that's going to get knocked out. There's times that, that's something that his coach should be talking to him and saying, hey, Justin, you got to pull that up in your forearm. But the fact that he does that is the same thing as Lamar Jackson. The more the guy runs, higher percentages, that there's going to be a high percentage there's a chance of him fumbling a football.
Two things real quick. What's the running back for Pitt? Reed? What's his first name?
Des Reed.
Des Reed.
Yeah.
Didn't I text you? He holds the ball.
Yeah.
Like Tiki Barber, where the point's up and it's high on his chest and it's right here. It's boom. Somebody taught him that. Somebody somewhere said, You need to hold the ball here. Now, I don't know if he was having problems or if that's just how he was taught, but a lot of people don't run like that. But Tiki Barber did, because he had some fumbling issues earlier in his career, and they taught him to hold the ball up high and up to his chest. Now, the other thing is, one of my friends on Facebook, she posted this picture of her son scoring a touchdown. Now, he's not even 10. Can't even be 10, right? Dude's carrying the ball like a loaf of bread. I totally wanted to be on the post like coach. Like, yeah, nice run, but you're not carrying a loaf of bread. Tuck that ball high and tight. But, I mean, the kid's like 9 years old, so like, what am I going to say?
Yeah, right.
I'm just going to be a jerk at that point. Like, but I'm trying to help, but I know I wasn't going to help at that point.
And I did just want to throw in there that Des Reed does lead with only behind Genty out of Boise State for the most all-purpose yards by average in the college football rankings.
Now, you did say that Zach Frazier's week to week.
Yes.
I was going to point out, if you had a show today, which I know you had off today.
Yes.
But if Zach Frazier was from Ohio State, Penn State, or Pitt, he'd probably be out for the season. But because he's from West Virginia University, he was a wrestler, played with like a broken back. He's week to week. I mean, he's going to be back as soon as he can.
Everybody knows this guy. Everybody had a guy like this in school. The guy that just, he was going to play no matter what. He was wearing garbage bags for 2 hours before practice running just to lose the weight, to make weight. Everybody knows this guy. I had one. You had one.
Yeah.
He's that guy. And because of that, he will be back a lot sooner than maybe a lot of other guys would.
He is tough. Who else are we going to get back? Patterson, is he going to be back?
I didn't hear.
He's like, we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Highsmith, KZ might be back as well. KZ might be back. What else do we need to do? Are penalties going to be big in this game? Because I'll tell you what, I've been watching the NFL this season, last season, and I messaged you last night that the game was boring. It seems like every time there's a big play, there's a flag called in every game.
I know.
Like, instead of having 20 big plays a game, we're seeing like 5 or 7 because there's flags thrown for 10 to 15 of them.
Unbelievable. People say, I've been telling people, I was like, the league is different now. And you know what? And I don't want to be that guy that's going to say it's been weird and oddly different since they quote unquote jumped into bed with these gambling sites and things got come on. I mean, let's be honest. So, who knows? I would have to say I'd rather just let them play, let the guys play the game, and let's see where where it ends up. But they do. The referees play a big part in every football game this year. I don't like it. I don't trust it. But from being said that, I don't know if this game is going to end that way or not. I don't know if the Steelers or the Jets can even help that. At the end of the day, I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what's going on with all these flags this year.
Here's my thing too, okay? And I watch the game. It's tough to watch the game with other people because they have no idea what's going on. Let's say we have a run play for a touchdown, and it's a 40-yard run, and right, there's a flag.
Yeah.
And it's holding. And they're like, oh, my goodness, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, watch the play. He would have got tackled in the backfield if it wasn't for that hold. Go watch the play. These flags aren't like that, Ryan. These flags are like on the other side of the field, somebody like, this mystery something. And it's just like one thing has nothing to do with the other. Because typically, like I said, a big return or a big rush for a touchdown, there's typically a hold somewhere at some point that prevented that. But these are just on the opposite side of the field, meaningless, stupid plays.
It truly is unbelievable what's going on with these penalties. I can't figure it out. And again, as I said, is there a reason that every game, with an exception of a few here and there, it's not 100 across the board, but is there a reason that every single game comes down to the last drive of the game with the team driving, having a chance to win, tie, something along? I've never seen this in my whole life where this many games comes down to the final drive of the game. To me, it seems a little suspicious, but hey, you know what? I'm a football fan. I just don't know what to think because, and another thing about this also, Brian, You hear, and it's well known around the league and fans and sports and everything else, that they say that there's basically a holding on every play.
Yes.
So, what? I mean, are you picking and choosing now? You waiting for the big play to happen? Now we're going to call it? Again, things are a little suspect since they had...
obvious is obvious.
Yes.
And sometimes they miss obvious, and I don't understand. Somehow they review obvious and still miss it. But,
yeah.
But, it's just... I don't know. It's making the product bad, and I wonder if I assume the NFL knows that this is going on, and if they care, because I would assume this is hurting ratings. They care about the gambling and the viewership based on gambling.
Yeah,
the money dumped in from that, but it's just tough to watch. It's just like, yes, finally a big play. Nope, there's a penalty, and it had nothing to do with the play itself.
It feels a lot like third period hockey in the NHL to me sometimes. But again, I don't want to say that I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But I think if you talk to enough people, you can get that general opinion from people that it's not the same game that it was 5 years ago. It's just not.
It's most certainly not. And these, what's the called when you rough the passer and you actually fall on top of them?
Is it a unsportsmanlike conduct?
No. I mean, it's roughing the passer, but like you didn't rough them. You just kind of fell on them as you hit them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that's called. Those are just some bogus.
Oh, absolutely.
You literally see the defensive lineman like trying to, with all their might, defy gravity and not put any weight on the quarterback, and yet they're still calling it. I'm like, you see the guy attempting to not harm the quarterback. They're going out of their way to not harm the quarterback, and yet you're still going to call it. That's got to stop.
I say that you got to really give these players the credit. I mean, the guy's 300 pounds. He runs like a gazelle, and he is playing as hard as he can, and you expect him to hold up as you're in the middle of tackling a guy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's difference between driving him down,
right,
after he threw the ball or whatever, and just kind of falling on him like a natural, gravity, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Two bodies going in motion one way, it's going to happen.
I was content with letting the guys play.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we've got to talk about the JETs when we come back. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Beaver County Radio proudly welcomes Fry Transportation to their family. You're listening to 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, live from the all-new Fry Transportation Studios.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the Best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the Best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.
Looking for home services? Call Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Their staff provides company, conversation, and companionship to all patients, ensuring medications are taken on time, participating in fun community activities, personal care, meal prep, and light household work are all services provided by Patriot Home Care, all thanks to the hardworking and selfless team members. Call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or stop in Patriot Home Care at 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls. Get ready to kick off your game day with everything you'll need for tailgate parties from Fisher's Foodland in New Brighton. Party trays, snacks, beverages. If you're looking for food ideas to make your tailgate party unforgettable, Fisher's has it all. Fisher's Foodland is a complete independently owned and operated grocery store focused on your daily needs for the whole family. Remember, football season is a great reason to visit Fisher's Foodland in New Brighton.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm in the studios here at St. Barnabas. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. I'd like you to call in at 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. We've got about 30 minutes that we're going to take calls, so make sure you get them in because we're going to cut off the calls after 30 minutes because we're going to get into wrapping up the show. So we have 30 minutes. Call in now. We'll get you on the board. I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, your thoughts on their 4-2 start and what's going on here with the quarterback situation and the New York Jets coming into town along with Donald J. Trump. Will he wear the Make America Great Again hat, or will he have on like a terrible towel? Like, you know how those girls, okay, now, and all right, a lot of the viewers here, I'm assuming, are guys because it's sports. And for those women that are listening, God bless you because I appreciate every single one of you. But you know how, like, especially when it's warmer out, the girls dress up for a Steelers game, maybe to tailgate or go, and they wear, like, these outfits made out of terrible towels that they put together. Yeah. They're very skimpy.
Yes.
And nobody's complaining.
No.
God bless you, young ladies that look way better than Ryan and I.
Absolutely.
Do you think Donald Trump would wear like a terrible towel made outfit, or is he going to be in his Navy suit?
Or like a terrible towel fabric Make American Great Again hat or something. You know how he always the red, but it would be fabric.
He should have something. Somebody's got to design something. That would be great if he had on something.
I can see him wearing the red one. It doesn't seem like he ever takes it off. He's like a cartoon character. Every time you see him, he has that red hat on.
He's had on 2 outfits I've seen since he was in Home Alone 2 back in the 90s. It's been that red tie and blue suit, or he's been like out golfing
with
and
the
like
white polo.
White, yes, the white, exactly. So those are the 2 outfits. So we'll have to get him into some Steelers gear. So give us a call, please, 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. Also, make sure you get over to my YouTube channel, One Man's Opinion on Sports. Click on it. Make sure you subscribe and check out all of that content. The Jets. Ryan, who the heck do they have? We said, who did the Raiders have, right? And we said nobody. They had that weird dude. What's his name?
Max Crosby.
Yeah. I saw a video of him. Every time they were playing the Chiefs, and it was Patrick Mahomes was mic'd up, and every time Mahomes would throw the ball, 3, 4, 5 seconds later, Crosby would come over and punch him in the bicep.
Oh yeah,
his throwing arm.
Right.
And finally, dude, and I was never a Patrick Mahomes fan. I can't handle the way he talks. I don't like anything about the way he walks. The fact that he wins, like, doesn't he just walk funny? He's like got that like chubby little whatever's going on.
He's got childbearing hips, yes.
Yeah, he could pump out easily 12 to 15 kids in under 5 years. So he went off. He threw a touchdown pass and just flipped out on Crosby and was just like, you woke the wrong MFer up. And I was like, yes, I actually like this dude because Crosby was just giving him cheap shots after cheap. Like, why do you got to punch a dude in the bicep 3 or 4 or 5 seconds after each play? You know, it's not like you go over and you like touch his shoulder pad.
Yeah.
Like he was punching him in the bicep on purpose, and Mahomes just like went crazy on him. It was great.
I particularly like, I do like Patrick Mahomes. I think that I like him in the same sense that I like Tom Brady. I just recognize that
everybody just stopped listening.
Well, no, listen, he has amazing talent, and I do respect that. But as far as, you know, I don't like him. I never liked Brady in that sense either. But going to going to what you were asking about the punching of the bicep, I think during the course of every game, every guy has a little something that they do. Maybe if I do this enough times, that's certainly going to, it's going to play a role in his arm strength, or it's going to.
Yes, that's exactly why he's doing it. That's cheating.
Which, again, it happens. It's football. There's guys.
The ref, he told the ref, he's like, this every time after he's putting his body on me, like, why is he doing this?
Yeah. But I think every player has a little something that they, especially down in the trenches. Little things like this. But you asked prior to that, the question that you asked, who does the Jets have? They have Aaron Rodgers.
That was the whole point of this. Like the Raiders had one guy. The Jets have Aaron Rodgers and who?
Okay. Breece Hall, who did have 113 yards against the Bills the other night, who's got a pretty decent
defense. So he's probably
defense.
have 213 against the Steelers.
It was on 18 carries. He had 113 yards. Also, Garrett Wilson, the rookie that was drafted the same.
Is that Roman Wilson's cousin?
It's not, but he was drafted from the
What
same
about Russell
draft
Wilson's cousin?
that the Sauce Gardner was drafted, which I'll get to him in
Peyton
just
Wilson's
a second.
cousin?
So Garrett Wilson, now listen, they had two receivers over 100 yards against the Bills Monday night. So it was Garrett Wilson with 8 catches, 107 yards and 1 touchdown, and then Lazard, who'd had 6 catches, 114 yards for 1 touchdown. So that's a running back.
And possibly Devontae Adams.
So that's a running back that had over 100 yards, 2 wide receivers that were over 100 yards. Aaron Rodgers just 5 yards short of a 300
How did they
yard.
only score 20? We score 20, and we have like nobody over 5 yards.
And that's not even on defense, Brian. I think that their secondary is so fast between Sauce Gardner and a couple other guys.
Did they sell that Pitt guy?
No, he went back down to Tampa Bay. Jordan Whitehead last year was only there for 1 year. But on the defense that they have, they're fast. Again, Sauce Gardner is one of the best young corners in the league. And that's not even talking about the guys that get to the quarterback, Williams, McDonald. They have decent players, definitely better than that Raiders team that we faced.
So do you remember how I was telling you that nobody calls or messages me all day?
Yes.
So I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy, Brad Ruda. We called him Rudy, went to Slippery Rock. He's my age. Shout out to him. He's listening live right now. But he just sent me the text that he's listening live. And it's like, how come you didn't message me at 3 o'clock earlier today, Brad?
You want me to tell you
wait till
why?
I go on air?
This is what people do that actually don't want to talk to you.
Yes,
they wait till they know that, hey, he's on the air. I'm going to call.
You would think all these women would message me while I'm on the air, though, but no, Brad. How about this? So Brad, he's from about 2 hours north of Philadelphia. Okay. So he's out in that Lehigh Valley area. He went to Slippery Rock, and he converted from an Eagles fan to a Steelers fan. So congratulations to that, Brad Ruda, a.k.a. Rudy, from converting from, now he's still a 76ers fan. He's still a Phillies fan. So he's still sulking about the Phillies playing well all season and then just getting pounced by the Mets.
So I'm going to assume that Rudy is one of your smarter friends because, for one, he waited.
Well, hold on, I don't have any smart friends.
He waited till you were on the air to try to call you. Smart move. And the other hand, he switched from the Eagles to the Steelers.
Yes,
again,
that's a huge switch.
This may be one of your smartest friends.
Not too many people can make that switch. I mean, those Eagles fans, they're worse than that dude that beat up everybody from
Chalice. Was that his name?
I don't know what his name was. Goon.
Yeah.
Goon won from with his Lamar Jackson shirt on.
He doesn't lose. He doesn't lose.
Still a Phillies fan. I mean, how could you convert from the Phillies to the Pirates? Like, nobody's converting to a Pirates fan, right? Like, that's not even possible. He's he's laughing.
He's LOLing you right now.
Yes, 3 laughing faces. So he is a 76ers fan, which, by the way, and I don't want to get into basketball right now, but one of my favorite players of all times is Paul George. He plays excellent defense, plays excellent offense. He comes over from the Clippers to the 76ers to make them, compete with the Celtics, and he gets hurt already in the preseason. The 76ers have Joel Embiid, who I believe has never played over 70 games in a full season yet. He's played over like 60, maybe 65 games twice in his whole career. He's injury prone. Now they have Paul George injury prone. So, Brad, I think it's going to be a long NBA season for you.
You know what? Listen, I have nothing against the 76ers. We have no NBA team, and over my life, I've been
when
an NBA.
Jimmy Butler was there, I loved them.
Well, you know what? I was just going to say one of my favorite players from the Big East was, of course, Allen Iverson. A lot of people may say that. And he was literally 6 foot tall, one of my favorite because he was winning the scoring title at my height in a league where, it's played by giants. So I was always a big fan of Allen Iverson.
Remember when he had 50 against the Lakers?
I believe so, yeah.
It was game 1 in the finals. They had no chance.
Yes.
And then they had no chance. I was like, yes, come on. Because, I was Shaq and Kobe, like, let's go. Let's beat these guys. And they couldn't do it. He didn't have enough. He had Mutombo, another Georgetown guy.
That was right around the time whenever the last Subway Series, I think right around 2000, 2001 was...
I think the Subway Series was 2000 on the nose.
Yeah.
Because the Yankees have not won the World Series since 2000, except for, I believe they won.
There was one.
Something. Yeah. They've won one time since 2001. I did a YouTube video on this. That's what I'm right now. Yeah. So, the
But the 76ers, no problem at all.
Yeah, like how can we not? I mean, it's like the Cavs. Like I don't mind the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Right.
I mean, except for when LeBron's there. But now I don't mind them at all because they're close and who are we going to root for?
Even the Eagles, you don't hate them. I mean, they're in the NFC. The team.
I was a huge Donovan McNabb fan.
You know what? Those
His
teams
whole career.
where they went to 4 straight NFC championship games. I'd be lying if I say that I wasn't a fan of that as well. It's the Flyers. The Flyers mess it up for everybody. There's always the one dumb kid that messes it up for everybody. That their dumb kid is the Flyers.
He is not a Flyers fan. He's not a hockey fan. So Brad, you're good with us. You're okay with the 76ers, you're okay with the Phillies because we don't even have a professional team here. We might as well. In Lehigh, they have the Allentown, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. They are the Philadelphia Phillies AAA affiliate, which just so happens we are the New York Yankees AAA affiliate, Brad, and we are the Pittsburgh Pirates, the AAA affiliate of the New York Yankees and Houston Astros and New York Dodgers or LA Dodgers. I'm sorry, yes. So we are the AAA affiliate. So yeah, no harm, no foul there.
No, 76ers. They brought me a lot of joy over the year because again we didn't have NBA and you had to always find that other team and had something.
Now you just liked Allen Iverson?
Yes.
You didn't like the Georgetown Hoyas?
I'm a Pitt guy. I mean, I remember playing them, of course, but I'm not.
I was a John Thompson fan.
Yeah.
I was a Patrick Ewing fan.
Absolutely.
I was an Alonzo Mourning fan. I was a Dikembe Mutombo fan. I was a Allen Iverson fan. Although Allen Iverson, he didn't fit the mold that I liked from Georgetown because he wasn't that defensive, just beat you up guy. He was I'm going to go around everybody that's, a foot taller than me and make them look stupid. So, yeah, I'm a big Georgetown fan, and I was rooting for the 76ers. What was that? Was that 2000? Yeah, I think it was 2000 because I want to say they beat the Nets. The Lakers won 2000, 2001, 2002.
Were they the first on the Lakers three-peat?
Yeah, it was the Nets the other two times.
Oh,
the Nets had no chance.
That's right.
And then I want to say the Spurs won after that in 2003. And then in 2004, the Detroit Pistons should have swept the Lakers.
Yeah.
Should have swept them. And then Shaq left and all heck broke loose. What do you want to do here? It's 5:30. We're going to go to break for 2 minutes, so don't go anywhere, everyone. But I want to talk about what the Steelers need to do to right the ship and be able to just blow out these teams that they should beat, right?
Yes. Yeah. Sounds good.
I mean, we manhandled the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders helped us, but we should be able to manhandle these Jets and these Giants the next 2 weeks.
I would think the Giants a little bit more, but yeah, we'll get more into that on the other half.
All right, everyone. You've been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Tune in to Driving in the Fast Lane with Frank Sparks on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Frank will talk about what's happening in the news, locally, regionally, and nationally. There's also music to get you started for the day, and Curtis Walsh will have the news. The show is brought to you by Patriot Home Care, so set your radio dial to 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. We're streamed live on BeaverCountyRadio.com, so you can listen every morning on Beaver County Radio.
Looking for a fall activity for your children? Pass and score your way into the Beaver County YMCA's Youth Soccer League. The league will teach the basic fundamentals of soccer. There will be one practice a week teaching drills and skills. This soccer league is for kids ages 5 through 12 and runs from September 10th to October 19th. Registration is already open. To register, go to beavercountyymca.org. There's exciting news. A new pharmacy in New Brighton just opened, Forward RX. It's an independent community pharmacy that fills prescriptions at transparent cost-plus pricing on many generic medications. No insurance or discount coupons needed. Brandon Anthonopoulos will discuss your needs and how Forward RX can help you save money. The pharmacy experience you deserve is more affordable than you think. Become a Forward member today. Stop in 809 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check their prices at FWDRX.com.
The unexpected happens. When it does, you have peace of mind that you can rely on your insurance agent. As an independent agency, S.E. Snyder in Rochester can represent you to several insurance companies, so we can get you the best coverage for the best price. We pride ourselves in customer service and honest sales. so you shouldn't feel pressured with an insurance quote. If you need a quote or have questions about the coverage you need, talk with us until you're satisfied. Call S.E. Snyder Insurance Agency in Rochester today at 724-774-3584.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. Last chance to give us a call, 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. We've got a big game coming up Sunday night versus the New York Jets. The Jets are what? What are they, 3 and something? 3 and 5? 3-2 and something?
I believe they're 3 and 3. They
stink. Aaron Rodgers stinks. I can't stand. Like, I'm not saying they're a bad team. I'm just saying you hear every offseason the Jets. The Jets are going to be great. You hear about the Giants. The Giants are going to be great. The Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to be great because they're big markets. They're popular teams. I think these Jets stink. I think it's a game where we're at home. It's in prime time. And like I said, Mike Tomlin does very well. And if we would have just ran a better defensive play on that 4th down play against the Cowboys, we could be 5-1 right now.
There's no doubt in my mind. I believe that we could have won both of the games that we lost only by 3 points to both teams. Of course, the Indianapolis Colts prior.
Yeah.
But
we were out of that game, though. That's like a miracle if you win that. The Cowboys won, we should have won. And that's why I say 5-1. But like you said, we could easily be 6-0, but we could also probably be 2-4.
You're right. And I want to kind of go back real quick here on the Jets because they are 3 and 3. I think the scary thing about this New York Jets team most for me is the fact that they lost 3 in a row, which means that they're due to win. It's hard for a team that's good. I mean, they're a good team. You have, again, like you were saying, a future Hall of Fame quarterback. You have these other young players that's a lot of talent, and they just lost 3 straight games. I think that's dangerous for the Steelers because, when your back's against the wall, you tend to play a little bit different. But let's take a look, Brian, at these games real quick. They lost to the Vikings. Okay, this is the one that's encouraging to me because they did lose to the Broncos, which is not a good team. We beat the Broncos, so you figure, okay, this might play into our favor. Then they lose to the Vikings, who is still undefeated in the NFL. So again, last week they lose to their division rivals by 3 points. So they lost 3 straight games. Brian, that kind of scares me. It looks like they're only 2-4. I'm looking at
I thought they were 2-4.
The only teams they beat were the Titans and the Patriots. I mean, that's not impressive. So I don't know. I just think that it's scary playing a team that's 0-3. And again, they have nice players. I'm not going to say they have this great team because it's not. They have nice players in spots. And so do we. So it might be a good game. It's probably going to be low scoring. It's probably going to be ugly. And it's probably going to have a small margin between the scores.
Let me ask you a question. Is there more injuries in the NFL nowadays than there ever has been? Is that what's going on? Because I feel like I follow, obviously, I do sports talk. So I watch the Steelers and I watch their games multiple times and I see who they have down the depth chart. And there's a lot of times where, like, in the game, Ryan, I see people out there that I don't even know who they are. Yeah. So it's not even like the backups in there. It's like the 4th or 5th string guys are out there. And is that... Am I losing my mind? But I see it all over the NFL.
Well, this kind of goes back to me, Brian, because I don't have a clear-cut answer, but something that I do notice is this has been happening for, again, the last 3 seasons. Unbelievable amount of people injured in this league. Last year, the league they were riding on Aaron Rodgers. The NFL they gave the Jets so many primetime games last year. They gave them Monday nights, Sunday nights, Thursday nights. And when Aaron Rodgers got hurt 4 seconds into the season, I said to myself, what a disaster, because they planned their league around this guy this year. So
they should have just stuck with planning it around Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Kansas City Chiefs. But you're right, and it's something that I've noticed again. Only the past few seasons, I don't know if anything plays into anything else here, but it's certainly not like it was when I was growing up. Guys played through injuries. Now either they're getting hurt more or there's less tolerance for an injury to where they would used to play through it back then.
All right. I don't want to change subjects here, but I'm going to real quick, and we'll get back into the Steelers here just a little bit. There's a couple 6-0 teams in college.
That's right.
Look at Ryan. He just woke up. Now,
well, there's 11 of them to be exact.
Now, yeah, Army is one, and Navy is one.
Yes.
Army and Navy both ranked, both 6-0.
Yes.
So all of you in the military there, the Army and the Navy, they are 6-0 and 6-0. Now, there's a team that I root for, Ryan, that has 3 losses this year.
College?
Yes. The only college team I root for.
West Virginia.
They have 3 losses. Can you give me the total record for the 3 teams they lost to?
I don't think they lost to a team that had any losses.
So they've lost to Iowa State, who's 6-0.
Yeah.
They lost to the Pitt Panthers, who are 6-0.
Yeah.
And they lost to the Penn State Nittany Lions, who are 6-0.
And they beat Albany.
Hey, a win is a win. So they've lost to 3 teams that are 18-0. Talk about, running into some tough teams.
Absolutely. West Virginia is not a bad team. They're really not. They could have won the Penn State game. There was a lot of crazy things. It was a rainy game. I think there was a delay in the game. They came out. They went back in the locker room. And then also the Pitt game came down. I think Pitt had to come back in that game.
Well, didn't you message me that there was like a 97% chance that West Virginia would win the game with like 2 minutes left, and then they didn't?
Yeah. It was something crazy.
Yeah. So the Pitt Panthers are what? What are they ranked? 20th?
20th, yes.
And Penn State is 3.
Yes.
3. I saw that Ohio State moved down to 4 after their close, what was it, an overtime loss to Oregon?
Oh, what a game. What was that? Was it overtime? Whatever it was, it came down to.
It was a 3-point game.
Yeah.
Oregon won at the end. So Oregon's 2. Who's number 1?
Is it Texas?
It's somebody that's not normally number 1 as far as I'm concerned. It's not Alabama. It's not who the heck is number 1?
Alabama certainly looks.
Aren't they like? They have more losses than West Virginia.
I haven't seen Alabama play like this in a while. It's kind of weird.
Is it Texas? Is there a team out there? It's got to be a team in Texas.
Top 25.
This is when we look up the top 25. I'm trying to kill some time here.
I like that. Matter of fact, I'm not saying who it is.
Right, he already found it 5 minutes ago. He's just making me sing.
With 56 first place votes, it is the Texas Longhorns.
Yes. I was looking up stadiums. The biggest stadiums, and pull this up if you can. The largest stadiums in the world. Like college football has like 7 of the top 10.
Oh, they're huge.
Texas was one of them. Ohio State was one of them. Penn State was one of them. Michigan was one of them. Then you had teams like LSU were up there. Auburn was up there. I want to say Alabama was up there. And do you know what country? Here we go. We have some more trivia because you got the trivia right last time.
Okay.
What country? Because I want to say Michigan was number 3. Okay, for largest stadiums. I want to say they can fit like 106 or 107,000.
It's a crazy amount. Yeah.
What country is number 2? Has the second largest stadium?
Off the top of my head, I'll say Brazil.
India, I believe. Double check that. I'm only 50% sure of that. India. I would assume for soccer. I don't know. Okay, now. Here's the trivia.
Aren't they one of the countries that has 1 billion people? So, that kind of makes sense.
They had like 1 billion people when we were like in 8th grade. Okay, they have like 10 billion now, I think. I think China and India have like 75% of the world's population in those 2 countries. Okay, so now, the largest stadium in the world that can fit the most amount of people, what is the country? Yes, at home, listen. We're not gonna answer this till we go to break. So we're not gonna answer this for 3 minutes. But think about it. Out of all the countries in the world, there's all the soccer that's played all over the world. College football dominates here, and I think the college football stadiums are the biggest because they cram students in. So like a stadium that fits 105,000 could probably only fit 90 if it was an NFL stadium. You know what I mean? So Michigan's I think 3. Ohio State and Penn State are like 4 and 6, or somewhere around there. But the country that can fit 150,000 people in their stadium.
We're not taking guesses now, or
I don't want to give it away until right before we go to the break.
Okay.
Yeah, you can start with the guesses. I'll give you 3 guesses. You can get 3 wrong, and then I'll tell you the right answer.
I don't know, like somewhere where they play a lot of soccer, I would guess.
That's what I thought.
Okay,
so like you said, you guessed Brazil, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Brazil.
England.
It is not England. What's their stadium? What is it? What Wembley? Wembley Stadium? Something that was in the top 20.
Okay.
So that's a good guess. Yes. Largest stadium. It can fit 150,000. Like, just think about that. Like, how it's got to be crazy there.
Yeah. You know what? It's not.
I'll also give you another hint. You'll never see it televised. Yes. If you're just joining in, we are talking about the largest capacity stadiums in the world. Michigan has the 3rd largest in the world. I want to say India has the 2nd largest. I'd have to look that up, but I believe it's somewhere in India.
Is it an Asian country?
It is an Asian country, yes.
Oh.
So it is not in North America. It is not in South America. It is not in Africa. It is not in Europe. I don't know. Australia is a continent, but I don't know. It's still a country and a continent. So it's not in Australia either. It is in an Asian country. Asian.
North Korea.
Yes.
Is it really?
It is North freaking Korea.
Wow.
Yes. Google that up during break because I want to talk about the Steelers when we come back. But yeah, I just found it absolutely fascinating that North Korea has the largest stadium in the world.
Wow.
Does it really fit like 2,500 and he just lied and said that it fits 150,000? All right, let's look that up. Everyone, we got to go to break. We're going to talk about the Steelers and Jets whenever we come back. You've been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director.
In Beaver County, there are many great stories to tell. One such worthy story is that of the Drug-Free Aliquippa program. Now in its 4th year, the project has enjoyed great success through in-school interaction, education, raising awareness, and data analysis. Drug-Free Aliquippa has a mission to help local youth make better decisions regarding alcohol and drug use. For more information or to find out how you can get involved, visit Drug-Free Aliquippa on Facebook.
Looking for a fall activity for your children? Pass and score your way into the Beaver County YMCA's Youth Soccer League. The league will teach the basic fundamentals of soccer. There will be 1 practice a week teaching drills and skills. This soccer league is for kids ages 5 through 12 and runs from September 10th to October 19th. Registration is already open. To register, go to beavercountyymca.org.
Tri-State Sporting Arms on Main Street in New Bryan is now open. Stop in and explore their extensive selection of high-quality firearms, pistols, and accessories. Tri-State Sporting Arms also pays top dollar for used firearms. Their experienced and highly trained staff is here to assist you in selecting the right firearm for you. Stop on down to Beaver County's newest firearm store, Tri-State Sporting Arms, at 807 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check them out on Facebook.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
All right, everyone. We've got about 12 more minutes of this show, so don't go anywhere. You've been listening to One Man's Opinion on Sports this entire time. It's me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. Before the break, we were talking about college football stadiums and how ginormous they are capacity-wise. I just want to run down like the top 10 here. I think I was a little off, but I don't think I was off. I think what I saw was, I don't know, maybe a little misinformation, maybe the Russian misinformation for the election time. Yeah, like the top 10 capacity stadiums, Alabama is in the top 10. Texas is in the top 10. Tennessee, LSU, Texas again, Ohio for Ohio State, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and then I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm a Badadad, India. I'm a who's your mama? Like what?
I think that was it.
I'm a dadabod. I think I'm a dad bod. Yes, I am a dad bod. I am a dad bod. It seats 132,000. And where I was wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I think this is incorrect here. This is Wikipedia, so Wikipedia can't be right. But yes, North Korea, Pyongyang Stadium, the city of Pyongyang, Pyongyang, Pyongyang. It says here that there's 114,000 can fit there, but what I was watching last night, it had it at 150,000. So we'll have to, really search into that. It's the 1st of May Stadium. Is that when North Korea was founded? The 1st of May? I don't know. I don't know much about North Korea. Not many people do. You know who we need to call? We need to call Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman would know.
Dennis Rodman, can you call in next week? Because we need to find out some North Korea. You are our North Korea insider. You're the only person I would know that has ever been there and come back alive, right?
Well, that and Donald Trump.
That's right, Al. All right, Trumpy. Listen, we'll have you on the YouTube show this Sunday. One man's opinion on sports, the two dumb yinzers. We connect for a show from 11 a.m. till noon, and it's usually a Steelers pregame. Donald Trump, can we get you on? We need to know what the capacity is of the stadium in North Korea. We need to find out.
And he will be in town Sunday, so hey, you just never know.
Yes, and we're going to see if he's wearing that terrible towel skirt that we were talking about earlier in the show.
The skirt.
Don't they pin them together? These girls, they wear these little outfits at the beginning of the year to try to be cute, and it works. And they make their outfits out of like a terrible towel crop top and then a terrible towel skirt. They just make terrible towels.
I know.
I've seen
dig.
it time and time again.
I don't know what that has to do with Donald Trump, but I've certainly seen the what you're talking about.
He's going to wear one to the Steelers game.
I don't want to see that man wearing any kind of skirt.
All right. So at 8, what is it? What time's the game? Is it 8 or 8? What?
8:20 start.
8:20.
Yes.
Is there any way the Steelers lose this game?
Yes. I think this is a game that the Steelers could totally lose. I don't think this. I think this team is better than the Indianapolis Colts team we lost to. Again, people say over and over, do we have to find a way to be able to stay with the teams that are better in the league? I think they call them elite. And those teams that we have trouble with, the Jets lost by 3 the other night against the Buffalo Bills. I think that we could totally win, but I also think we could totally lose this football game.
Are you saying this game's going to be like one of those nail biters?
Yes.
Now, here's what I fear.
And what I don't like is the fact it's going to be one of these ones that come down to the last drive. And what I don't like is they have Aaron Rodgers, who could certainly find a way to get the ball down the field and do it fast.
I'm not even talking about his being able to move the ball. His Hail Marys, he's like batting 1,000. Every time he throws a Hail Mary, it's caught for a touchdown.
Yep. He did it last week.
It's not going to be a Harbaugh. What was that, 1996? Was that when he threw the Hail Mary?
It was
the 95 season, but it was 1996, correct?
January 14th, 1996.
Holy smokes. Who was born that day that you know?
Nobody, but it was 2 weeks prior to the Super Bowl, which was January 28th in Tempe, Arizona. And they had the week off between the Super Bowl and the AFC
Remember whenever they used to go to Hawaii and they had the was that always after? Didn't they move it before once?
Yeah.
Okay, so they would have a break just for all the media stuff. Then they'd have the Super Bowl, and then all of the players that made the Pro Bowl, if you were in the Super Bowl, you could go play in the what would they call it, the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
So then they were smart, and they're like, well, what we're going to do is we're going to fill it in with football the week before the Super Bowl. So they moved the Pro Bowl to the week before, and then I don't know, like 12 good players couldn't play in it because they were playing in the Super Bowl. So that was stupid. And then they just stopped doing it, right?
And now they're playing freeze tag. So, yeah, that's basically the process.
Is home base my parents? Is it the electrical box out on the front lawn like it was when we were kids? Or what's going on?
I mean, you look at what they're doing. They do play flag football now. You don't. It's a shell of what it used to be. I used to love it. They used to do all these different things. It was a whole thing. As a matter of fact, I was in Honolulu's football stadium where they did play the Pro Bowl one time. I thought it was really awesome. But it seemed like as soon as that happened, it all started to switch, and it hasn't been back there. Now they play in Orlando, Florida. There's guys that, as you said, they probably use somebody's air conditioner box for a base. It's gotten to that point where flag football is what you're watching.
They should play it in like Anchorage, Alaska. That's where they should play it. Just have like this cold game. Did you ever? You don't watch movies. They had this movie. It's called something, and it's a hockey movie. I can't think of the name. And there's this really good hockey team up in Alaska, and they play outside on, there's no boards, whatever. And I don't know how, but to promote the NHL, the New York Rangers went up and played these guys. And I want to say these guys lost by 1 to the Rangers. But it was so cold, and the Rangers, they would like skate up to like and like warm up in this place. It's a really good movie. Can't think of, I don't know, whatever, irrelevant. Yeah. But it would be interesting if they played in a cold place, was my point, not Orlando or Honolulu.
Right.
But then again, it used to be like a vacation, and you'd take your family.
That's what, that's why they went to Honolulu. That's a vacation place. I mean, of course, Orlando is too, but you think the pros, the NFL players, them going on vacation, you think something like Hawaii.
Well, this is back whenever they probably didn't make much money, so It was like nice if you made the Pro Bowl,
absolutely.
Free vacation for your family. Now it's like, bad players make $6 million a year.
Yeah.
So, speaking of bad players, you think Justin Fields should start?
Yes.
And you think he will start?
I hope so.
What do you like about Justin Fields, I guess, that makes you think he's an NFL starter?
Well, listen, you know my opinion. I always said that you cannot win in this league. When I say that, I'm talking about championships, winning games in the playoffs. If you don't have, and I'm doing the thing with my fingers, that guy. You have to have that guy. There's about 5 of them on this planet. I will argue this up. I will argue this down. There's about 5 NFL quarterbacks on this planet at any given time that is that guy. If you don't have them, you're not going to win Super Bowls. You're not going to do these things that the Chiefs are doing. You're not going to do the things that the New England Patriots just did. You're not going to do those things the teams that don't have their quarterback, that guy. We had a Ben Roethlisberger, to make it a little clear what I'm saying. If you don't have him, so basically we took a couple guys who were around the league. One is a little bit past his prime. The other one never quite got to his prime. But of the two, I say the one that's moving in an upward is where I would go. The younger guy, the guy that can move more, the guy that has a little bit of speed. Granted, his passing isn't as good as the quarterback the elder. But I would go with the youth. Certainly in this game, they have a fast defense. They could get back at the quarterback. And as I said, I don't see Russell Wilson escaping many of those, where Justin Fields, I think, is a different story.
See, if I was the coach of the Steelers, Mason Rudolph would still be our starting quarterback.
Yeah, see,
I would have played him. By now, if you have him or you don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not in this limbo. And we're stuck right now with a guy that's over the hill, that's had a tight calf for how many months? 2 months now?
Listen, the guy has not played a game in the sport that you want him to start in because he had a tightness in his leg. I don't want that guy starting for me. I just don't. I want the guy that's been fighting his butt off for the past 7 weeks, a guy that's been fighting his butt off since the preseason started, and he's proving himself by becoming 4-2, not dropping out of first place, having better numbers than a lot of starters do in the league right now. How can you take that guy out of that position to put somebody in who hasn't played in months, who has been out because his leg is tight? He's not as fast. It doesn't make sense to me how you go with Russell Wilson in this game. If you do want to, if you're hell bent on going to him, wait till the Giants game. I think that's a better game to get him in.
Here's my thought. If you're going to go to Russell Wilson, we have the Jets at home. We have the Giants at home. In all likelihood, we're probably going to be 5-3. I don't know why you'd make a change at 5-3, but you have a bye week then.
Mm-hmm.
at that point, utilize your bye week and have Russell Wilson taking snaps for 2 weeks straight. Don't put him in now. I think this is a dumb time. I think it was a bad time to put Kenny Pickett in, the second half of the Jets game, ironically.
I tell you what, listen, if you didn't have third-string guys playing on your offensive line, if you didn't have rookies starting on your offensive line because of injuries, maybe. To me, it just doesn't make sense. As far as waiting till the break, then you have Washington, who has a pretty good team this year. They're certainly playing a lot better than most people expected. I think New York is the game that you'd circle on your calendar to get Russell.
So we're at Washington after the break.
Yes, and it doesn't get any easier.
They were supposed to be bad.
They're really
they good.
They're really good.
Although the Ravens showed up and beat them
by a touchdown, but they have the rookie, the kid from LSU. They got a couple nice
receivers. Is sweet.
These receivers
Give
they
me
got.
Jaden Daniels.
I would certainly say that this game is not a gimme as it would have been 4 years ago, the last time we played the Washington football team.
All right, before we make our picks, I want everybody to go over to YouTube, get on the Two Dumb Yinzers, like and subscribe. I will be on there Sunday at 11 for a pregame with the Two Dumb Yinzers. You can check them out tomorrow and Friday from 11 a.m. till noon. So that'll be Thursday, Friday, Sunday from 11 to noon. The Two Dumb Yinzers. Make sure you go over there and check it out on YouTube. Ryan, what's the score going to be? Who's going to win?
If Justin Fields plays.
Okay, so we have if Justin Fields is the starter and then an if Russell Wilson's the starter. I like that. Give me both.
All right, if Justin Fields starts, I say we win this football game. Let's see, they're going to score. I think we'll score a little bit more this week than we usually do. That puts me at about a 27-23, 27-24 win if Justin Fields starts. If Russell Wilson starts, I say Steelers lose by a touchdown.
Okay. Here's my prediction. If Justin Fields is the starter for the whole game or, the bulk of the game, I predict the Jets 23 and the Steelers 17. But if Russell Wilson is the starter, it's a whole different ball game. I have the Jets 23, the Steelers 17.
Isn't that the exact same score?
It is identical.
Okay, interesting.
I don't see the offense being any different. I think it's going to be completely different in the way it's ran, but I think Russell Wilson's going to be doing checkdowns and punting, and then I think Justin Fields is not going to be able to hit his targets and going to have to rush. So I think it's going to be two totally different games, but I think the Steelers can't score 20, and I think Aaron Rodgers scores over 20.
My quick question before we go. The teams are making moves right now. A lot of people are going after their receivers. Devontae Adams going from the Raiders to the Jets. You have Amari Cooper going from Cleveland to New England. Why the Steelers, who have not had a number 2 receiver all this season, has not made a move, blows my mind. We'll talk about that more next week. Hopefully we have a receiver in that position next week. I just don't think we will.
I disagree with Ryan. We've had a number 2 wide receiver this whole time. His name is George Pickens. We need to get a number 1.
Ooh.
All right, everyone. We will see you back here in 166 hours. You've been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM.
WBVP and WNBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WNBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WNBA.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230.